Hey, what's up YouTube? Mike here again with Laser Restorations, and in this video we'll be restoring this vintage cast iron sink. Now this thing is a beast. It weighs about 250 pounds. The cast iron is a ½ inch thick all the way around. It's rusted and scratched pretty heavily. But I know we can breathe new life into this piece, and the best part, we can use our continuous wave laser to do it. So first things first, let's get this thing degreased. We'll get the hardware off of it, and then we can see what we're working with. So stay tuned. You don't need to. So we're back and we have all of the hardware, the dirt, and grease off of this thing, and if I'm being honest, it doesn't look much better. So I have the edges masked off with some painter's tape. That's there to help protect the enamel that you'll be able to see when the sink is in the countertop. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start hitting this with the laser. Hopefully we can get all that old paint and rust off. So let's get to it. Roll that laser footage. So we've got this thing cleaned up all the way down to that nice bluish gray that's so distinctive of cast iron. I've gone ahead and I've got all the dust off of it and I've hit it with some solvent, so we're super clean and ready for paint. Now we're going to start by using Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer. Now I chose this for a specific reason. This cast iron is very porous and this primer is super sticky. It lays down really nice, it'll get into all those crevices. It'll also encapsulate any of the rust or paint that we may have missed. Plus, it's cost effective and it'll last a long time. So we're going to do one heavy coat of primer on this sink and then follow it up with 2 medium coats of Rust-Oleum Gloss White. So let's get to it. So we're back 24 hours later and this primer looks great. It covered all the nooks and crannies and it's nice and gritty and ready for this top coat. So the recommendation from Rust-Oleum is to wait 24 hours between coats. So we're gonna lay one medium coat down now, come back tomorrow and finish the bottom part of this sink. So let's show you that right now in a time lapse. Okay, so to catch everybody up on the sink, I am going to have to go ahead and refinish the top of this. I thought I could sand the original coating down, but there was too many scratches and dings in it. So you can see I've gone ahead and I put filler in where all the scratches and dings are. Next step here is to go ahead and sand that all down and get it ready for the coating. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, so I've gone through, I've sanded this whole thing down with a random orbital sander, 120 grit. You can see we've knocked down a lot of that extra strength JB weld, and I'd say it's done a really good job getting into the surface, sticking in where those chips were, and then sanding out really nice. Got a really nice smooth surface. So next step here is we're going to wipe this whole thing down with alcohol, get it prepped for our Ecopel 2K coating that we're going to be putting on this, and I'll show you how that's done in just a few minutes. Okay, so we're finally ready to put the top coat on this cast iron sink. What I've got laid out here is some of the products that we're going to be using. We've got the Ecopel 2K. After doing a little bit of research, this seemed like one of the tougher ones that were out on the market. You can see some other items online, but chose to go with this one for this application. In particular, this is their roll-on version. You may have seen previously that they have a pour-over version. Chose not to use that for this project, seemed a little messy. And I want to make sure that I get an even coating on this. So we're going to go with the brush on. You can see we've got a high quality brush there, very dense bristles. We don't want to see any lines in this. And we've also got some high quality foam rollers, and that's primarily what we're going to be using for this. Make sure you get ones that don't shed. You don't want to see little fuzzies in your finish. So I'll take this away. You can see what comes in the kit. Basically, it's just a two-part kit. Your first part, you just mix the first two batches together, paint it on, try and use as much of it as possible. Come back about an hour later, mix the second part, and go. So it's really, really simple. and we're gonna go ahead and get this on the first coat, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards.